There was a period in the 80s when I was visiting hospitals a great deal and going to funerals, and people I loved very, very much went. Oh my goodness. A is for attitude, A is for amazed, A is for astonished, A is for absolutely thrilled and very grateful. No, A isn't for very grateful, Stephen, come on, you're not that illiterate. But it's also for adolescence and adulthood, and it was during that time, way back in the 60s and 70s, that I first knew that I was not as other girls. And in those days, that meant you had a future of loneliness, seclusion, and shame and crime and hiding away. It seemed inevitable. Everything led to the conclusion that my life would be one like that. And somehow, thanks to people older than me and some braver than me of my own age, many of them braver than me, things began to change. And by the 1980s, I was able to come out to my parents and to my friends and to the world and to join in with a group of us queer people in fighting for equality, first of all, in terms of age of consent and then a fuller equality. And amazingly, it happened. It took too long. All good change takes too long, but it did happen. And my predecessors in winning this award, people like Peter Tatchell and Ian McKellen, deserve far more praise than I do for bringing that about. But I would say that the other A that I'm thinking of and can't help but think of is AIDS. We're all very COVID aware at the moment, and I don't mean anything I'm about to say to underplay the terrible problems of coronavirus, but I think it's 38 million people have died from AIDS. 38 million. And 33 million, as I speak, are HIV positive. It has been a terrible struggle to try and fight this disease. And I've been so proud to work with the Terence Higgins Trust. Terence Higgins Trust is the oldest and the biggest of the AIDS charities in Europe, in fact. Was founded in love and grief when Terence Higgins, one of the very first people in Britain to die from that awful condition of AIDS-related illnesses. His friends got together and said that something had to be done. And over the years, it built itself into the most remarkable organisation that is to this day still helping people with their lives, because despite medical advances, which have been terrific, it's still something that utterly shatters the life of someone who's HIV positive and those around them. And of course, the young still need to be reminded of the real dangers, despite, you know, the pills you can take before and the pills you can take after. You don't want to be HIV positive. So I remember those friends of mine who died. There was a period in the 80s when I was visiting hospitals a great deal and going to funerals, and people I loved very, very much went. So there's lots to mourn, but there's an enormous amount to celebrate. And what I would mostly want to celebrate is the human spirit of queer people, their friendship, their togetherness, their sense of building a future in which who they are and how they want to be is no more of a problem than it is for others. But also I would just counsel quickly before I close against being too angry, by which I mean anger in the right direction when focused properly is a really useful tool, as people like Peter Tatchell have found in their ceaseless campaigning. But too much anger against people who don't need that kind of anger can alienate. And there's so much in our society at the moment that is making people unhappy, resentful, angry, bitter, and full of dislike for those not like themselves, that we of all people don't need to add to it. I'm not trying to make any particular point, except to say people are, generally speaking, so much better, kinder and nicer than you would believe if you looked into social media and into newspapers. And just remember that. Remember that we are brothers and sisters. And if this planet is going to survive, it will survive because we put arms around each other even when we have to do it in a socially distanced way. That's enough from me. Thank you so much, Attitude Magazine. Thank you for all you've done for the queer community over the years. And good luck to everybody. Stay well, survive and thrive. And much love.
Hi, I'm Simon Callow. Hit like and subscribe to see more from Attitude.